I'm finally doing a little bit of painting guide stuff with tips, tricks, suggestions, a few things that I've learned for all of my fellow newbies out there. Let's go ahead and get started. Hello everyone, and welcome back down here to the Gamer's Den with me, your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire. I should be researching and studying up and rereading things on the first edition Pathfinder Druid, but something another commenter had said just really made me want to paint more, and I haven't gotten to paint significantly in a while beyond fixing these guys over here, and they still need some touching up to do, but I thought I'd go ahead and start applying paint and just cover a few quick basics, just some quick tips for everybody here over the course of this video today. Now, if you're new here to the channel, go on down there, hit the subscribe button, and become a regular member here at the Gamer's Den. Or if you've already gone on ahead and listed yourself on such an incredible roster of legendary heroes, then go on down to hit the like button and share the video far and wide. Alright, now let's actually start getting into this. So, what I'm going to be painting here today are these servitors for the adeptusmechanicus of Warhammer 40k. These are Kataphron destroyers, and they just absolutely desperately need paint applied to them. Now, some quick things to go over here. When you're first going to get started on your miniatures, I do recommend it, especially if you're new and you've got something complex like this particular tech priest here, this tech priest Dominus. I definitely recommend you try to do at least a little bit of sub-assembly painting. That's where you've gotten it cut out of the sprue, and then you take your primer and you get your mini primed first, and then start applying some paint to some of these more hard to reach places, these areas where you might if you've got a shaky hand, might end up misapplying paint to other areas. Now, as you get more advanced, you can step away from that more and more as you get comfortable. I don't consider myself that advanced. I still like doing sub-assembly painting when I at least don't forget myself and complete a miniature ahead of time. So that would be step number one that I'd recommend, is just get your minis pieces cut free from the sprue, maybe glue together a few things, but try to get them primed, and then do a little bit of painting on those harder to reach areas, because some of this, and look at this, that would be absolutely ridiculous and asinine to have to try to paint while it's all assembled. I mean, I don't like doing that. It's difficult. But then again, overall, this has still just been a pretty fun and rewarding hobby overall, I'd say. One other thing to jump in and note is that when you go to prime your miniature, absolutely follow the directions on the back of the can. It's got the temperature, it's got how long you want to shake the can for, the distance ideally that you should be spraying from, and then let the miniature sit for 15 minutes. And when you shake the can, you want to make it really good, and do this for about a solid 2 minutes. A little bit more is not going to hurt anything, and then from there you should be good to go. So 15 degrees Celsius or 25 degrees Celsius, in that range there, or 59 degrees Fahrenheit up to 77 degrees Fahrenheit. So those are the ideal conditions to be using that spray can of primer in. But once we've got that figured out, well, I've got the color scheme in mind and figured out. We're not going to be using all of these today. In particular, I like these Citadel color mechanics colors, but I just never quite get the right brassy-ish sort of color that I'm going for. But I'll still use those for touching up some different spots. So one other thing you always want to do is you always want to shake up your paints. Give them a good shake just to make sure they're mixed up, go from different angles and stuff. And that should be good. You'll be good to go. I already shook up the rest of these. Now, I'm using a wet palette here, so it's got a little pad underneath it here, a little sponge, holds in some water. This will help keep paint good for a couple of days, so that way minimize my waste. And that's pretty handy. You don't want to over soak it, and you always want to make sure that all the air bubbles are out from under there, just so that way there's no areas of drying, there's a consistent, even level of moisture as much as possible. And I like to just use something as like a little scoop to get a little bit of paint out of there and onto here, just so that way we can kind of thin things out a little bit. And I'm running low on this lead belcher. It's a little bit thick there, but that's okay. Wet palette will help with that. Now there are other tools and scoops that you can get and pick up and use if you feel so inclined. I certainly wouldn't think it's something that hurts. So there we go. Minimize paint wastage as much as possible. Also minimize any mixing there. So that lead belcher will look really nice on these models. Now, a little bit of Necromancer Cloak from the Army Painter War Paints, the Grinning Gargoyle. This was the first bit of paint that I'd picked up. I like them. They're pretty good. They're not as expensive as the Citadel paints either, but they seem pretty similar in quality. We don't need too terribly much of that. Silver and blue, we can wait on these, as long as I don't drop everything everywhere. My goodness, it's a little bit more crowded than I'd like to have things too, but say lovey, I'm here doing this. Now, let's see if I can get this mixture right. There. I think that took care of it. A little bit of desert yellow in with that copper. Oh no, did not get rid of the air bubbles. Well, it's okay. Let's see here, do I have something with a smaller surface area? It's not quite so rough. Ah, nope. Little plastic tube. Perfect. And get that mixed up real nice there. Oh, that looks great. So, one other thing I would recommend, especially if you're just starting out, it's helpful to go online to different groups. There's groups on Facebook, and I'm sure you can find plenty on Reddit and Instagram, other places where people post the work they've done with their miniatures. Wonderful to look at, great inspiration, but it can at times leave you just feeling wholly inadequate. And it sucks because, you work on your minis, you feel like you're doing a good job, and then all of a sudden you go online to look around and you just see these incredible works of art, and it just kind of feels like it puts your work to shame. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself. Something, and I have to remind myself of this regularly, but comparison is the thief of joy. If you're enjoying what you're doing, if you are enjoying painting these models and miniatures, building them, it doesn't even matter if you're playing them. If you're just painting because you enjoy it, if you enjoy the look and you like the artistic freedom, that creativity, sharpening your own skills, then that's enough. That's all that you need to have for this. You don't need any more or any less. It doesn't mean your minis are necessarily bad. There might be some things that need to be improved on in a technical sense, but that's going to be true for anything, especially when you're just starting out. So be kind to yourself. Remember that comparison is the thief of joy. Just look around to see what other people have done and go, oh, that's cool. I wonder how I can do that. And either ask the person how they do the particular thing that they did, and then go on and try to practice it yourself. And also, in the grand scheme of things for practicing, all these extra sprues that you're left with afterwards, all of these, especially the bits too. I like saving the bits for other stuff. Everybody does, as far as I know. But take the sprues, cut them apart, and prime them, so that way you can use this to compare what things are going to look like together. It's not going to be exactly what the model looks like, but it's going to be a handy little bit of insight there for you. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm taking a little bit of contrast, well, a lot of it, and I'm going over a few parts. I used to just kind of coat the minis a little bit, but I'm kind of learning to target my areas a little bit more and just kind of getting in here with this to get a particular shade of blue. Now, the primer I used is that ultramarine blue primer, and this is Leviathan blue contrast. And I just kind of tried it on a whim and ended up liking how it looked. And since I've done this with so many other units in my little plastic army, I want them to kind of try to have as much of a unifying look and coloration signature as possible. Now, I may decide to go over some of these parts later with the lead belcher, and that's okay. I haven't fully made up my mind on how these are going to look at the end, and that's another thing right there. Don't let yourself be just totally set on a particular thing and then trying to make everything else around it work, especially if you decide you like something else better. You know, just adjust as you go. Nothing about this says it's supposed to be perfect. It's a hobby, and you're learning. I'm learning. I am learning. Heck, I painted one of these, I put some paint on one of these Kataphrons and realized I'd made a terrible mistake priming it. It came out looking all kinds of fuzzy and bumpy and uneven and just not really pleasant for me to look at. I don't know if a lot of people would have necessarily noticed had I not said anything, but still, what was important was that I wasn't happy with it, so I'm going to have to clean him up and reprime him. So here we go. Coloring along, nice and easy. Probably need to re-wet my brush here just a touch. There we go. Now I'll probably need more paint. Still, using this contrast is a nice way to get started. Get started with applying some coloration in a fairly quick manner. Turns out that's actually called the slap chop technique or something like that. I just started doing this last year in October. I didn't know that I had accidentally stumbled into a thing that was like a popular trend, but hey, there you go. Okay, so now, again, because I'm not necessarily going to leave this all like this, I'm not super worried about miscoloring a few parts. It's mainly the bits underneath this armor plating that I'm looking at. And who knows, maybe I'll end up liking the look and just leave it. Certainly, just even doing this much has some kind of an effect. Let's see here, maybe I just lean a little bit closer this way. What I was doing now? There we go. ADHD brain. Kind of really like how that looks. Let's see if I can get in here. Let's adjust this focus just a little bit. There we go. just even that little bit of contrast there is helping those helping those details to just kind of pop and stand out just a little bit more. All right. Wonderful. Now that I've done that, we are going to start using a little bit of lead belcher. Now, when you do these paints, never hurts to thin them out a little bit. And a wet palette is helpful for that. And then the rule is usually just like 2 thin coats over whatever it is you're doing, whatever it is you're working on. You want to go for 2 thin coats. We're going to get the wheels inside the tracks there. So here we go. Might be just a little bit too thin, but that doesn't really hurt much. So it means I just get to go over it again later. Try to pick up just a little bit more paint. Interesting painting like this. Trying to make sure theoretical others can see what it is I'm doing. Thrilling stuff, isn't it, folks? My brush a little bit wet. Okay, that should be good. And of course, if there's any more experienced people out there watching this, please feel free to comment with any, well, criticism, insights, tips, tricks, or even just remarks and compliments. I'm never going to claim to be an expert at this, but I will say I don't think I'm bad. I'm actually even getting comfortable with the idea of saying I'm kind of good at this sometimes. I'm not I don't think I'll ever be world renowned. I think this is just only ever gonna be a hobby. I'm not gonna be at like Duncan Rhodes level anytime soon, which, by the way, look up the Duncan Rhodes Painting Academy. That dude's work is just phenomenal, and the way he breaks everything down, his setup for relaying information is just incredible. Absolutely a great teaching tool. and seems like a pretty decent person by what I've been able to gather. Alright, so from there, looks like I'm just going to end up moving more paint around than anything else rather than getting everything covered. So we're going to move over to the other side. We'll come back, we'll do another coating of this lead belcher gray over everything. There's some little detail stuff that we're going to add on to later. So, and joining me now is one of my most adorable co-hosts, Atticus, apprentice storyteller, and still as yet uninitiated to any circles of lore, though that'll probably change soon. Go, buddy, just a little bit. Oh, no. Painting with children, always dicey. So that's easy enough. Like I said, we're going to go over this again later anyways, but we just clean that up a little. Hashtag dadlife, right? No, here, you got this one to paint, buddy. Yeah, there you go. So you ultimately can't be too upset, because really, he just wants to paint with me. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to spend time with your dad. Here. Oh, and my other most adorable co-host is wanting me to relay the fact that she actually kind of got hurt a little bit earlier, hence why they're both in here with me now. So, let's keep this going. You hopping down?
No. I have to stay.
Okay. You know what? That's okay. Thank you, son. So, here we go.
This is what? What's that? What's this?
That's called lead belcher. It's paint.
What's this?
That is Leviathan blue. It's a contrast paint.
What's that?
That is White Scar White.
Oh, what's this?
That is skink blue.
Wow. Ooh. Look. What's this? What is that? Well, papers. Mama, papers.
You dropped it, I think. Oh, there it is. Yep. Going great. Oh no, don't eat it. That parental advice, whether it's a little fur baby like a dog or a kitty, or one of your kids, the advice is always, don't eat it. There we go. You want what?
No, sick. I'm sick.
Oh no, no drink. No Pepsi for you today.
I'm sick.
No caffeine for you. You already get enough with your mama's coffee.
My mama's coffee.
Wonder if that's why he's always on a constant haste effect. Well, bye, buddy. And off he goes to wreak mayhem and destruction elsewhere, in a most adorable fashion. Alright. Now we just flip around back to the other side and kind of just go over everything again, because it might be difficult to see from the camera there, but there's still just a little bit of a haze of blue poking through some of these metallic parts that I just want gone over just a touch. just for a nice, even look. I'll probably color the tracks the same, but then I'm going to go over them with some darker paints too, just to kind of add to it. Just a little bit more for that spot in there. Bluey is amazing, my sweet girl, but I'm painting right now. I'll listen to it with you while you watch it. I'm not sure why there's a hamburger. Might just turn that down a touch. Oops. Okay. Now we come back around to painting on this side. We'll do that organization soon. Can you open the door for your brother, please?
Oh, hey. The card. I want the cards.
They're just there, but you can look at them if you want, sweetheart.
Hi, Dad.
Hi, buddy.
Look, Dad.
You got a cup and some ginger ale.
Daddy.
Yes, Nora?
These.
You can look at those. You can even have those if you want.
Keep.
Yep, you can have those to keep.
We could be stuck on this. We get Pokemon. We get Pokemon stuff at the donuts.
Oops. Well, I just made a little mistake there, not really thinking like I should have. Too much water, and it started to move away paint that hadn't fully dried yet. So, we just get that absorbed and cleaned up, and we'll go back over it and fix it. I did remember to say I'm not a master at this, right? But that's why you want to make sure your brushes are not too wet.
We do not.
I'm fixing stuff, so let's just get that brush in there, absorb that.
Mommy.
There. It's still a little too wet to be done with. Have anything done with it? Yep. Okay, so since I need to let that dry, we just move on to a new area. Now, the armor plates on this guy's chest, he used to be human, but his armor plates are what I want to color next on this area here. But for that, I'm going to need a smaller brush. Now the handy thing with the smaller brush is less paint, more control. So that'll be about what we want. And this is the one Atticus had used. Here we go. This will be perfect. Nice, small, fine paintbrush there. If only the autofocus would come in. There we go. take some of that excess paint off of there. Spread it onto these other plate areas. See, my hands are not the steadiest ever, but I'm still able to accomplish this. And make it look like something approaching kind of nice. Get down into that recess there. There we go. There. A little bit more detail on this guy. Let's see. Don't need as big a paintbrush for this part. How do you ask?
Different.
What do you say?
Fish.
There we go. Okay.
Fish.
There you go, buddy. Surprised him and he fell over. You're welcome, son. Okay. I am the DM daddy. That was a terrible joke. I apologize. I understand completely if some of you unsubscribed from me for that. Probably said that before. There. Now just let that stuff dry. Well, let's see. Since we're out of lead belcher on there, let's go ahead and just give this just a little dab of water there. Oh yes, I see. He brought me the F-bomb. Oops. Let's see.
No. The pink.
That is pink. You're right, son. I don't think I'm going to use pink on this one, but certainly not opposed to the idea either. Some things just require a good shade of pink sometimes. That is red. Good job. You're doing so well learning your colors, buddy. See, and that's just one of many reasons to want to try to share this kind of stuff with your kids, whatever the artistic endeavor is. Black, you're right. It's just because it's good for them. Not only is it good to spend the time with them, around them, letting them be around you and see you do this kind of stuff. It's just there's an educational value to it. If you want to lean in on just that practical aspect of things. There's value in this, although I like doing it just for the prospect of just having my kids involved in this with me someday. Looks so different. And we're fixing that area that had gotten some of that contrast paint over it. No fuss, no muss. Shouldn't be a stressful endeavor at all. One other thing that's worth noting here is I'm not a very fast painter by any stretch of the imagination. That's probably the one thing I worry about lately is just the speed at which I'm painting. And I really shouldn't. I shouldn't be worried about that because it should be go at your own pace. It's like I said earlier, comparison is the thief of joy. And I want to be enjoying this. I want to be able to take my time and enjoy this. It's a hobby, it's not a job. Heck, even if it were a job, just as long as you're up front with the people you're painting for and just tell them, hey, I'm not the fastest, but you're going to get the detail that you want out of it. You're going to get that look that you want. And that all should be fine. That is brown.
Dad? Where are we?
Let's see. You hear him coughing, little buddy's getting over being sick. Poor guy. There. Starting to look like something. Oh no, no gumballs for you, buddy. You're cute, buddy, but you're not that cute where I'm going to let you just run around unsupervised with gumballs. Okay. Just need a little bit more for this area here where I'd made that mistake. There. All right. Well, that is probably enough for now. I could probably keep painting, but things are starting to get a little bit active here, and I should probably actually start researching everything that I need to for getting the Pathfinder Druid taken care of, so we'll just wrap this up for now. If you enjoyed today's video, go on down, hit the like button or dislike button, and let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Or if you didn't like it, still let me know your thoughts. Any comments, critiques, criticism, any other questions, ideas, or advice, please feel free to let me know. We'll engage in discussion down below. And remember, if you haven't done so already, go on down there, hit the subscribe button, and become a regular member here at the Gamers Den. I've been your host, Jordan, your Master of Lore and Storyteller Extraordinaire. Thank you so much for your time. You all have yourselves a good night.